So Gwen, tell me how all of this started. Because I know that you sit and talk all the time, but I remember you being up and you saying that you didn't get any sleep. And so you kind of started on this mission. And I've noticed like over the years, not only have you been on this mission, but you've even helped me kind of get some answers about my family. But this quest, I'll call it a quest. And so first of all, why did you want to start this quest to learn more about your genealogy? Like, what made you want to start this?
I had conversations with my Aunt Zelma, who was my maternal grandmother's baby sister.
Mm-hmm.
And she took me to places in Denmark, South Carolina, which helped me to verify some of the stories that my grandmother had told me when I was a little girl. And that's what began my interest in doing research.
Wow. Wow. And what's so interesting nowadays, I mean, years ago we would see these specials, right? And one in particular, PBS, I gentleman's name, but he does a lot of genealogy in PBS. And anyway, unlike times before, now we have the technology and the services, and these kinds of things are much more accessible. And it's really fascinating. I remember before it was like you could put in a name. Now we got swabs and what have you. So when you started this journey, where was the technology? Was it just you put in some names, or did you do the whole swab thing at first?
At the time, it was just names.
Okay.
And then eventually I got on to Ancestry.com and on 23andMe and did the saliva testing and encouraged other members of my family to do it also.
And so now, what was interesting about that is, did you, don't name any names, but did you face any ambivalence or any reluctance? Because, as a people, we don't necessarily want to just voluntarily give up our DNA for a variety of reasons. I mean, I can go, that's all day long. I mean, so we don't get blamed for a bank robbery, or we don't get tested on, and our cells end up being in some type of experiment from these renowned hospitals, that kind of thing, or we get injected with something. So how hard was it to convince family members to do that?
There's still a lot of resistance among family. I've heard things like, I know who I am, and things like that, but I did get some pretty close relatives to
Wow. So what did you have to tell them, first of all? Did you just share with them the benefits? Was this, do this for me?
No, it was sort of do it for history. Because we have the younger generations coming along. And the further we get from our beginnings, the more difficult it will be to find where we started out.
Wow. So what were you hoping to find?
Well, actually, on this particular quest, we were looking for a couple of things. One of them was my great-grandmother and great-grandfather's origins. We wanted to go.
You say we. Let's back up a little bit. Okay, when you say we, let's go there, because this is a we thing now. Again, and I want to definitely kind of delve into this recent trip you had. But when you say we, though, who is the we?
We is my cousin Susan. She lives in Massachusetts, and she is descendant from my grandfather's sister.
Wow. And now, because I know a little bit about this just from talking with you, she also was on a quest. And you guys had never met before. You guys met online, if you will, right? This is a whole other kind of online meeting, but she also was on a quest to find out more about herself and her roots, right?
Yes, she was.
And let's not mention, you are African American and your cousin Susan is Caucasian.
Yes.
Wow. And so you guys met up, and before meeting up, I know you guys have been to different conferences together and what have you.
Family reunions.
Right.
Genealogy.
Now, what was that like meeting her? First of all, finding out about her and then meeting her. What was that like?
Well, she's a delightful person, and she has the same passion for doing this research as I do. She has, time. She's retired, and I'm still working. She's working, but you know how it is.
Sure.
When you're retired, you're always working. But so she even motivated me more.
Wow.
To help find answers.
And that's pretty significant because you were already highly motivated.
Exactly.
I'm like, when did you get any sleep last night? You're like, no. Like, so, yeah.
I was just so happy to find somebody who just shared that. And so, of course, she's researching all branches of her family, just as I am.
Wow.
But our common ancestor is my great-grandparents.
That's amazing. And since you guys have met, you guys have, like I said, been to this different...
Yeah, we bonded.
but reunions. Wow.
So it's great.
That's amazing. So now, let's get back to this week. So you guys decided to take a journey to...
Lynchburg, Virginia, and surrounds, Amherst, Bedford, Campbell County, and to follow up on our roots in those areas.
And now, what led you to those areas? Like, what did you find on the map or the list? However that works. What did you find and why there?
Well, we knew different locations because of things like obituaries that were online on Ancestry, and family stories. Just passed down.
Wow.
To other family members. So we knew where different ancestors were located at different times from census records also.
Wow. And this trip, and you guys who are listening, this is our podcast talking about this quest, this journey, this epic journey. But we want you to also look at the documentary that's coming up. And so you guys will be able to get all the behind scenes interviews that Gwen and Susan took. But I just want to ask you this. How did you all organize this trip? I mean, were there extensive phone calls that had to be made? Because I know many people that may be listening would like to do this for themselves or for family members. Was it something very difficult to do? How did you all plan your trip?
Okay, so when we went to the African American Genealogy Conference last year, we met some people who were researchers, met some contacts in Lynchburg. Susan met some contacts at different libraries, and she phoned them to let them know we were coming down. Basically, all I had to do was say, when are we going? And Susan worked out all the details. But we did have names of certain people. We had locations of places that we wanted to go. And we planned to spend a day in, say, Bedford, a day in Lynchburg, a day in Richmond. And after that, we just went with the flow. We didn't, necessarily stick to the exact plan. But as one thing led to another, we went ahead and followed.
Wow. Well, guys, stay tuned. This is part 1 of the epic journey. Stay tuned for part 2.